You ever meet someone so entitled, you start wondering if they're secretly the main character in a different reality? Because that's how I felt when my neighbor marched up to my door one afternoon, dead serious, and demanded I do something about the sun. Yeah, apparently, the sunlight bouncing off my windows was ruining her kitchen. I thought she was joking until she wasn't. If you've ever dealt with a neighbor who thinks the world revolves around them, or in this case, orbits them, hit that subscribe button. Drop a like if you believe karma always finds its way home, and stick around because this story isn't just about sunlight, it's about shining a light on pure entitlement. It started on what I remember as a calm Tuesday afternoon, the kind of day where everything feels still, birds chirping, a soft breeze through the trees, coffee still warm on my desk. I was in the middle of working from home when I heard a sharp, impatient knock at my door. It wasn't the friendly kind of knock. It was the "I'm here to make your day worse" kind. When I opened it, there she was, Linda. Now, Linda lived directly across the street, in a spotless beige house that looked like it had been assembled from a homeowners association catalog. Everything about her screamed control, from her perfectly pressed blouse to her expression that said, "I'm about to file a complaint." I smiled, a little caught off guard. "Hey, Linda, everything okay? Did something happen?" She crossed her arms and frowned like she was about to deliver a legal notice. "There's a problem," she said flatly. "The sunlight from your windows is shining directly into my kitchen. It's very inconvenient." For a second, I thought she was joking. I actually laughed a little, not mocking, just that reflexive laugh you let out when you think someone's setting up a punchline. But she didn't smile, not even close. I said, trying to process this. "You want me to do something about the sun, Les?" she said, completely serious. "It reflects off your window between 11 and 1, and it's very distracting. I'd appreciate it if you could fix that." Fix it. Like I had a solar settings button in my living room. I blinked. "Linda, I'm not exactly NASA. I can't reposition the Earth." Her lips pressed into a thin line. "I'm not joking. You need to be a considerate neighbor. Some of us have lives that don't revolve around you." And with that, she just turned and walked away. No further explanation, no attempt at humor, just righteous indignation trailing behind her like a bad perfume. Now, here's the thing about me. I try not to be petty, but there's something about unearned arrogance that flips a switch in my brain. The kind of person who doesn't ask, they demand. Who treats your courtesy like it's their birthright? Still, I let it go. I thought maybe she was having a bad day, or just one of those people who can't function unless they're correcting someone. But the next morning, I woke up to a folded piece of paper under my doormat. It was typed, not handwritten, and titled, "Neighborly Request Regarding Window Glare." Inside was a full paragraph about how the reflection from my windows was causing discomfort in her home, with a polite request to either install anti-glare film or reposition my windows. I almost spit out my coffee. Who does that? Who writes a letter about sunlight? It was so absurd it felt like a sitcom episode. But again, I didn't react. I figured she'd get bored once she realized I wasn't playing her game. Except she didn't. A few days later, I caught her taking photos of my house. Standing across the street, phone in hand, snapping away like a private investigator building a case. When I stepped outside and called out, "Hey, everything all right?" she just said, "Documenting," and walked off. Okay, now it was weird. I started to realize this wasn't about glare. It was about control. She didn't like that my house, my windows, my very existence weren't bending to her preferences. That weekend, I was talking to another neighbor, Mike, about it. He lives 2 doors down, a chill guy who's been around forever. He groaned when I mentioned Linda's name. "Oh man," he said. "She pulled the same thing with the Hendersons last year. Said their garden lights were too aggressively twinkly. Filed a complaint to the HOA and everything." So I wasn't her first victim. I was just next in line. That's when it clicked. This wasn't just about one glare. It was a pattern. Linda didn't want peace. She wanted power. And I decided she'd picked the wrong house. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to confront her. I was going to let karma, with a little nudge, do its work. So I came up with a plan now. Remember, Linda's main issue was the sunlight reflecting off my windows between 11 and 1 p.m. That was when her kitchen supposedly suffered. So one bright Saturday, I went out and bought 2 massive, mirror-finish reflective panels, the kind used for garden decor. They were technically art pieces, completely HOA approved, and designed to reflect light beautifully. I installed them in my front garden, angled perfectly to catch the midday sun. The reflection, magnificent, like a heavenly spotlight right across the street. You could practically see the golden beam stretch from my yard into her pristine beige kitchen. It was poetic. That same afternoon, as I was trimming my hedges, I saw her blind slam shut. 2 hours later, another letter. This one was angrier. Chur, your reflective decorations are creating a health hazard and extreme inconvenience. Please remove them immediately. I laughed out loud reading it. I hadn't broken a single rule. My mirrors were decorative, and when she inevitably tried to complain to the HOA, they sided with me. Every word of their response dripping with bureaucratic neutrality. The homeowner's decorative installations comply fully with community standards. That was checkmate. But I didn't stop there. I added a small bird bath made of polished steel, right where the sun hit hardest. By the following week, her kitchen blinds stayed closed all day. She started parking her car farther down the street to avoid reflected sunlight on her paint. And every time she passed me outside, she'd glare, pun intended, like I'd personally offended the solar system. The final cherry on top came about a month later. I was out front washing my car when she stormed over, hands clenched, sunglasses on. This is harassment, she hissed. I calmly turned off the hose. Linda, I can't control the sun. You said it yourself. Her jaw tightened. You're doing this on purpose. I shrugged. No, just enjoying my yard. You might try it sometime. Great way to get some vitamin D. That was it. She stormed off without another word. And since that day, she hasn't spoken to me once. No letters, no complaints, no photos. Just closed blinds and silence. My street's never been more peaceful, here's what I learned. You can't reason with people who believe the universe owes them special treatment. Sometimes the only way to deal with entitlement is to hold up a mirror, literally, and let them see the reflection of their own absurdity. If you've ever had a neighbor like Linda, someone who turns minor inconveniences into personal crusades, hit that like button, comment below with the most ridiculous complaint you've ever gotten. And don't forget to subscribe, because in this neighborhood, karma always delivers with a little extra shine.